Greetings, citizen of the verse. Do you have a moment to discuss our Lord and Savior Christ Roberts and his kingdom of which was foretold, Star Citizen 3.2? Yes? Excellent! You won't be disappointed, friend! Alright, ladies and gents. So 1 week ago, Star Citizen 3.2 left the PTU phase and went to public release. And with this patch, we saw some major changes. Such as the introduction of mining, which is neat. If you'd like to try out this cool new feature, just swing by the RSI website, and you can pledge a gift of $155 for the privilege to break big rocks into little rocks. That's right, this fancy new feature in Star Citizen is paywalled. Oops. If this frustrates you or gets your titties twisted, don't worry though, as the Star Citizen cult will have you know, you can buy all ships in-game with credits earned. Someday. We don't know when, but one day, it's totally going to happen. Chris Roberts has said it's going to happen when they make the real estate available in-game to have ship sales lots. Yep, that sneaky cheeky fucker is using in-game lore as an excuse to keep charging money so the brainwashed can get behind it and defend it. Never mind that when I go to the RSI website to buy a prospector so I can actually do mining, the ship is just magically added to my account. And that's fine within the realm of immersion for Chris because I'm giving him real money. But the idea of buying a ship with in-game credits or renting them through the already present electronic access store, which you can go rent ships to use in Arena Commander, but not the persistent universe, that would be heresy because, then I'm not giving him real money and other people wouldn't have to. And, that's bad for Star Citizen. Now, I gave this a little bit of a pause because during that silence, some fanboy, somewhere, started furiously ham-fisting his keyboard to explain that CIG is a business, and they need to make money if we want Star Citizen to get made. You don't want the dream to die, do you? But wait, our fearless leader told us back in 2016 that we've raised more than enough money to finish the game. He said, just buy a game package, sit back, and wait for us to finish. So, before you start trying to defend the shady things CIG has been doing lately to sucker in new backers and milk old ones, like some kind of a paid shill, remember that our Lord and the prophet of the Promised Land, he already said the wet dream's paid for, so there's no excuse outside of prioritizing greed, right? Is CIG a business here to make money? Sure. They're also a business that got a unique start by asking investors on the promise of delivering a game to those investors with, no stock options or any kind of returns on profit. So obligation number one is make video game. I mean, Chris said we were the publishers, right? And he's accountable to us? Yeah? So I'm just wondering when that phase of the pre-alpha starts where his accountability starts coming into check, because I'd love to have a few words once we get to that. Anyways, that's getting sidetracked. So mining was one of the major things of Update 3.2. The other big one was that major improvements, such as network bind calling, there's a name I've heard a few times, was once again pushed out of the tentpole patch, and this time 3.2, similar to how it was pushed out of 3.1. Similar to how it was pushed out of 3.0. I'm starting to notice a trend here. The key highlight here is that yet again the Jesus patch manages to elude us. Man, if we were playing hide and seek, the Star Citizen Jesus patch is reigning king for how many years now? Right, guys? But don't worry, it's gonna be the next one. Remember, Star Citizen performance is and isn't based on the server, guys. We aren't sure, but we're still trying to figure out how to transition from being a JPEG factory to a game studio. It's a lot harder than it looked. Okay, so let's get to the meat of things. How is Star Citizen 3.2? I'm a big boy, so I'm willing to say that Star Citizen 3.2 is running much smoother than 3.1 did, when you're not doing anything. Server load still plays a huge part in how terrible or just normal bad your experience is, especially when spawning at Port Olisar. If you have a port full of smaller ships, which luckily the mining ship the Prospector is, things can be a pretty stable 20 to 30 frames at Olisar. However, someone spawning the larger ships like the Starfarer and the Redeemer can still send lag spikes or frame rate loss, whatever. Once you get away from Port Olisar and really start your space cruiser adventure, things do improve a little and you get decent frame rate until you try to do something like land at Planet Pop-In or get into combat. So, anytime you start doing space citizen things, That's when it gets bad. In terms of bugs, it's still pretty much a mess. You can stop typing, Cult Kitty, I know.
It's pre-alpha, failure.
I don't really care so much about the bugs because I had stopped expecting CIG to fix bugs in closed QA, Evocati testing, or the public test universe a long time ago in a build far away. What bothers me way more than bugs are the things CIG calls progress. And for those of you who don't play frequently or at all, the HUD has seen some real improvement. Notably, there are some major changes in quantum travel. That's the one where you space scooter around the one planet system that Star Citizen offers. In previous builds, quantum jumping was as simple as pressing the default B key, which would switch your ship over to quantum travel mode, and all relevant jump points were shown on your screen. You pointed to where you wanted to go and confirmed the jump. Hell, you could point at nothing and do a blind quantum jump back in my day. Now, with the new system, you need to select where you want to jump from your Apple Watch, because what space traveling explorer doesn't want to use his multi-million-dollar ship computer when he can fumble through a terrible Hollow Watch for 20 seconds? One of my favorite things in Star Citizen is how many different aspects of tech in this game are dramatic leaps backwards from what we actually have today in 2018. In addition to mining, one of the other major trumpeted features of Star Citizen 3.2 was the party system. That's right, you can now form an in-game party with your buddy. I made use of this feature with my Butto move speed so that we could try to thoroughly test Star Citizen Universe 3.2. And by universe, I mean one gas giant planet and its 3 moons. And I have to say it's really done an incredible job of adding to the fun of group gameplay. We had hours of fun trying to figure out where each of us was because the party indicator said move speed was on Port Alsar while he was orbiting Daymar, and his indicator said I was down on Daymar's surface while I was floating around the different jump points of Daymar trying to figure out which one he was closest to. Solid design. Speaking of solid design, since planetary landings became a thing, there is still no indicator or method outside of trial and error to tell which planetary points are on the near side or the far side of a planet relative to you. And that's been a glaringly obvious HUD issue since 3.0 arrived, 2 years late in December? So, like all other forms of progress in Star Citizen, I'm sure we can see that one getting fixed in the next 2 years or so, right? Of course, having the party notification being off doesn't really matter much when you die and somehow become invisible to your party members and you have to either relog or do something else. I don't know. Because after trying to load my pristine Grey Cat buggy golf cart into the back of my Avenger, which, by the way, worked flawlessly. All right, we got the ramp down. We just gotta get come. Really? Why is this a thing? Come on. Jesus Christ. It's a ramp. I have wheels. This should function. Sit still. Are you really? The ship is bouncing from my golf cart. What? Oh my god. Damn girl. You know how to bounce that ass. What's up? Oh, we got it. What? What the fuck is that? Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, why wouldn't that happen? Okay. After my untimely demise, I made my way back to my old chum Moosebeat, who was as surprised as I to find that he couldn't see me. I could see him and interact with him and his dragonfly, but he couldn't see me, nor could the poor owner of this constellation we were about to go on a joyride with. That's right, Space Whale Care Bears. Someone could be stalking you on your ship and waiting to take all of your precious space bucks, and you don't even know they're there. This is good for Star Citizen. Let's see how this unfolds. Now, the big problem here was, at the time, we had no idea that we weren't able to see each other. Mooseby was like, oh man, this guy's lowering his constellation ramp, and I was like, oh dude, we gotta sneak aboard this shit. We're space pirates, right? So that was our objective. We were gonna get onto his ship. I had no idea that I was invisible until around the time after this guy like walked past me a couple times, and And then I sat in the chair or something like that. Moose Speed was like, where are you? I don't see you. So it really kind of threw me off. And then I realized, wait, nobody can see me. He thinks he's taking some, Moose Speed noob looking player out on a little joyride in his luxury boat. I was like, okay, well, fuck it. There's nothing left to do now but end this trip before it gets started. And then we'll have to reconnect to the server anyway, so we might as well take this guy with us. Thanks, Star Citizen. Now, because despite what my voice might sound like, I am an adult, and I'd like to think anyone who actually knows me knows that I have enough moral integrity to say when I'm wrong, or in this case, to acknowledge some things that CIG did good with 3.2. So, let's cover that. The frame rate, as I mentioned towards the start of this video, is a little more stable. I have my own suspicions on what the cause of that is, but regardless, with 3.2 you do have a more constant 20 to 30 frames per second, which isn't great by any other game standards, but with Star Citizen, yeah, okay, I'll celebrate that. In previous patches like 3.1 and 3.0, frames per second drops meant literally seconds of 1 to 5 frames per second. In many cases, it felt like you were literally playing a slideshow, where now it feels like a sudden hang-up, and depending on what you're doing, it may be a series of hang-ups, but it isn't an absolute frame rate freeze like it used to be. So, good job, CIG. The other major improvement that ties into the first one is you can now log out of the bed of your spaceshipy. This is important because it means you can fly way the fuck away from the lag hell port of Olisar and other players, because this massive MMO space sim that's going to have 1,000 players in an instant battling literally wants to implode into a black hole when there are 50 people near each other doing anything besides standing on an empty landing platform trying to salute for Chris to show off on an ATV. So, with bed logging, you can log off on a remote part of your favorite planet and log back into just normal login bed lag and skip having to worry about anyone spawning a big ship at Olisar and tanking your gameplay from the get-go. The other feature they added, which is a huge quality of life improvement, is the ability to quantum jump around a planet to orbit above a specific facility on the planet's surface. This was a huge time waster in 3.0 because quantum buoys they had in 3.0 were never over top of anything. So you'd still end up spending 20 minutes just cruise speeding to get close to where you needed to break into atmosphere. The new system is a bit janky to me because after the failure of patch 3.0, I started playing Elite Dangerous for the first time. So at this point, I'm used to being able to super cruise within a solar system and go anywhere I want while I'm in super cruise, where Star Citizen's orbital quantum jump is on a rail because that's how things get done at CIG. Still, it's better than nothing, I guess, right? So yeah, those three things are pretty much all I can think of in terms of actual improvement to gameplay and quality of life. So let's call this one Patch 3.2, the great success! If you aren't happy with 3.2, then we'll call it, just wait until Patch 3.3, that's when the things will get fixed again, but for real this time. In all seriousness, here's the failure to report verdict on Star Citizen 3.2. It's more of the same. There's still no real game there, the flight model is ever degrading with each new patch, and doesn't look like it's going to be getting better anytime soon now that Chris has fired the developer who started it all back when Star Citizen was actually fun to fly. And performance is still a huge issue unless you're on an empty server. So that leaves the biggest new feature of Star Citizen 3.2, which is mining, which you can't do unless you want to pay $155, which, keep in mind, this is going to be the case with every new feature, like salvage or exploration, whatever. As these new features come out that require specialized ships, those all cost real money. And until the day comes when Chris Roberts decides he doesn't want any more money for his money-stuffed Quad King mattress, that's going to be the reality of Star Citizen. So, short and sweet, if you don't have Star Citizen, don't spend your money. The development doesn't need it, according to Chris Roberts, and then you have zero risk. If you have Star Citizen and you're waiting on the sidelines until there's an actual game to play, as you were, because the wait is still there. If you have Star Citizen and you're foaming at the mouth fanboy at the risk of breaking your keyboard right now in the comments section, keep it coming, sweetheart, because you make this whole thing possible. I'm FailureToReport. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.